Welcome to the Low Country Revolutionaries, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of Charleston, South Carolina's vibrant entrepreneurial scene. I'm your host, Bill Bellott, founder of Veritas Exoscience, and each week we're spotlighting the boldest innovators from the Chucktown startup community. These are the visionaries pouring their heart and soul into the businesses that are transferring Charleston into a global hub of creativity and American ingenuity. Get ready for raw, real conversations with the trailblazers shaping our city's future. Let's dive in. I would like to welcome Laura Kate Whitney, who's the founder of GOODco, a boutique integrated marketing studio focused on creating meaningful, memorable brand experiences that connect people, places, and purpose. She's an experienced architect by trade. Laura Kate helps companies move beyond transactions to design moments that imprint on stage, on screen, and in real life. Welcome, Laura Kate. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill. It's great to be here.
Great to have you. So that was a lot of stuff. Boutique integrated marketing. What is all that? What do you guys do?
We do a little bit of everything. If it has to do with storytelling, being passionate about a brand, bringing people together, that's what we do. You know, my background over the last 20 so years has really been across the marketing field. I've produced events, I've run campaigns, both traditional and digital. I've been able to wear a lot of hats. And I feel like in this day and age, one-track marketing does not work for anybody. You really have to bring in an integrated formula in order to drive results. So really what we specialize in, and you said it, I like to say that GOODco is an experience architecture studio. Mm-hmm. So we build experiences and campaigns that bring people together to yield imprints for our clients.
Nice.
Our mantra is that we believe wholeheartedly that great things happen in good company. So we always urge our clients to allow us the opportunity to create some magic with real connections, whether that's a conference, a festival, an investor or stakeholder meeting. But we also know that storytelling can happen virtually, online, and with other touch points. So it's a little bit of everything, but really the common goal is we want to make an imprint on those communities that builds loyalty between the brand and their customer.
That makes perfect sense. And, you know, I think, you know, I've experienced it. I imagine a lot of other folks have experienced, like, people are still coming out of, you know, the COVID era where everybody was remote. Now people are kind of getting back together more often. I work with a lot of technical folks. We're in that same kind of mode where we're still somewhat virtual, but we're trying to get together in person. How are you helping companies kind of bridge that gap and kind of do that transition? Because it's not easy.
Yeah, not easy, but I will say, so GOODco is just about 18 months old.
Okay.
We are currently serving clients across the Southeast. So we have kind of our HQ in Charleston. We have an office in Birmingham, Alabama.
Nice.
This past year in 2025, we activated in Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, and Alabama. And, you know, the South is really our turf. We'll go anywhere, but we really love to be here in the South. And when I started GOODco, you know, I kind of had this hypothesis that in this post-COVID world, you know, not only customers and consumers, but also brands, there is a greater value. And I feel like the more like hyper digitized we are in work and at home, the value of true human connection is only getting greater. And that's really where our niche is. We want to find ways to tell stories and to make connections that create real, true human connection. Right. So for some of our clients, obviously, we've been able to build experiences that bring people together again through a conference format where it's speakers and a marketplace and an expo. It may be a stakeholder meeting where there are people that are coming in from various markets, different cities, different states, to come in and just align on one passion or one goal. We have also worked with companies that have remote teams all over the country and are looking for opportunities. We know that there's nothing like human connection and being able to look somebody in the eye, feel that physical energy. And so we've had a lot of fun creating experiences for companies that are looking to build culture and connection within their internal teams that are mostly virtual. So again, if it has to do with creating connection and bringing people together, we're all for it. We want to find a way to do it.
That's really cool. Yeah, I kind of experience that all the time. I have family members that are in person all the time, and I have other family members that are fully remote, and everybody kind of struggles in a different way. I work in an area where we develop standards and stuff for technical stuff, wearable technologies and exoskeletons, and most of our work is virtual. And then when we get together, sometimes some of us are there and some of us are not there. We call it hybrid.
Yeah.
How do you guys, do you get into the technology side of things as far as like the AV and all that? Or do you do the arrangement and work with the hotel? Where do you guys play a role in all of this?
All great questions. So we do, I'm going to come back to that. We do some more traditional campaigns for our clients as well. If it's, helping to create a PR campaign for a launch that they have, being able to help them with content development for their social channels, their email marketing platforms. So again, any opportunity to do storytelling is where we fit. We are experienced architects, and we really specialize in storytelling. Now, when it comes to creating an experience, GOODco, we are a very lean agency. We love to, I think throughout even my own personal career of having the great honor and delight of working with so many creative professionals, GOODco has a pretty strong network across the region of producers, creatives, folks that specialize in videography, photography, building a virtual platform, even logistics and production on site. So when it comes to the tech side, I usually call in the pros, but we can certainly be on site and curate logistics and stuff like that on a small scale. But for the larger experiences that we're doing, we are literally building in a dream team. I think that model works really well for us because we can drive even more value for our clients. Instead of having a massive overhead agency bill, we are cultivating, okay, this is exactly what you need. We can curate this down to the needle on who exactly we need to have a part of this dream team to drive the results that they're looking for. So whether that is on site or even building or developing an experience. I'll give you a quick example. We were approached by a commercial real estate company, was looking to amplify a vertical of their business, and wanted a new digital platform. And so they were like, do you build websites? And I was like, absolutely. I'm shaking my head, though. I personally do not. But I knew exactly who to call, who really has a lot of great experience in this space. So we're able to work together to figure out what is the experience going to look like, or how is the experience going to feel for the people that they're trying to get in front of. And then obviously the added value is not only are we creating this digital platform for them to check the box they were looking for, but we're also bringing to the table, it's not just to make sure that people go to a specific URL and website. We want to make sure that people start to understand like this brand is synonymous with the bigger company. So finding other opportunities through, a little bit of publicity, a little bit of promotional and merch, just touch points that are only going to drive people to that site. So
that's
anyway,
cool. No,
I can keep going.
No, that's really cool because those things are really a lot of hard decisions. A lot of people can get, folks to come in and build a website or do whatever, or, go to a Hilton or a Marriott or whatever and say, hey, we need AV for the room. But to know the right people to bring in to make it a spectacular experience and to get the content right and make the content match up with the brand and what you want to portray, that's really tough. That's not easy work. And, I like to call, because I do a little bit of that kind of thought process when I'm bringing people together for stuff. It's like, the nerdy way to put this, because I'm totally geek here. It's like, this is like Mission Impossible team building, It's like just
100%.
It's just like the movie. It's like, okay, I want this guy and this girl and this guy for this event. And that's what works for this one. And it may be a completely different team for something else. Is that similar to kind of how you guys do it?
Definitely. I mean, obviously you work with a lot of people that you can create some seamless synergy, for lack of better words. I love that you said that. And yes, it is, again, there are people that have different specialties that we can identify would serve this client's needs or projects really well. Whether that's on the ground or in the virtual space or in the digital space, or even just in the creative space.
Right.
Something that I failed to mention, but I love what you said kind of prompted this. One thing that is a non-negotiable for any client that we work with is GOODco, even by its name, obviously, great things happen in good company, but we really want to be about bringing imprints that bring goodness into the world.
Oh, cool.
That not only do good for the company and the brand, but truly that is our ethos. Hard stop. So when we start to work with a new client, we make it very clear that we are not, to your point, we're not coming into a Hilton and using the template or formula with, some tables and some chairs and a registration. We are going to figure out who are the best partners from throughout the community, whether those are small businesses, other creatives that we want to uplift. Our non-negotiable is that when we build things, we are building community assets. So that we really do our due diligence to look within the community, who are the right people to bring together? Is it anything from the municipality to economic development to small businesses? We really want to make sure that anything that we touch is good for all, and it's not just a one and done.
Nice. I love that. That's capability development across with a local kind of focus, which, I think every company is kind of looking for something like that. They want to build a community, where they are and where they go and work and do things. And that makes a lot of sense. It's like local sourcing of food and those types of things.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
And, so how does that kind of work? I mean, I know you guys have a vast network of people you work with, but how do you go about sort of discovering, it's like, hey, we're going to have this event and it's going to have, food. We want to pull in some local, small businesses. How do you guys get started? Do you work with like the Chamber of Commerce or other places to kind of do that? How does that process work?
Well, as you know, there is this incredible tool called the internet and also social media on the internet, which is, certainly easy to use. I feel really, really blessed and honored that I've, some clients that GOODco works with were new relationships for me.
Right.
A lot of those are relationships that I've cultivated over the last couple of decades. So some of those connections are built in, and I know who I can go to find those connections or those contacts. But it's a little bit of research. I mean, any good marketing professional is going to do some market research when they are looking at developing a new brand or a new asset for any client, and their needs. And so, similarly, again, even beyond an in-person on-site experience, we're going to figure out, even if there is a campaign to bring awareness around a specific service online and in the social space, we want to figure out how do we make this even deeper. I probably said this a few times already, but imprint is a very important word. In this day and age, we talk a lot about impressions, and I think that is surface level. And what does that really mean? We got so many impressions. GOODco is all about delivering imprints. We want to make a true imprint on the person, on the brand, on the community. So I know I went a little bit longer than I needed to on that answer, but
that's okay.
We utilize the contacts we have. We look to the great World Wide Web to help us see who's doing what. And, we ask our clients a lot of times, if they are in a specific area, they are a great resource.
Right.
And it really helps us to understand, how do we tell their story in a way that's meaningful? Their content may be, they have an agenda, they're talking about the corporate priorities for the year. Well, they're also, if they're making the investment to bring people together, they obviously want to show their best foot. So we're gonna utilize those community assets to make some really positive imprints, so that when those folks leave, it has created a memory that brings a lot of richness to them personally, and also to whatever their professional endeavors are.
Very nice. That makes sense. It makes a lot of common sense there. I like that. So I'm gonna, since you mentioned the word impressions, and we talk about a little bit that in podcasting, it's like, how many impressions you get and how many downloads and all that kind of stuff. So I got to imagine at some point you guys do some sort of metrics about what was the impact of the things you did for your client?
Absolutely.
How do you kind of go about that? Is that you guys have like a set amount of metrics you do for everybody, or is it tailored to the specific client? And then how do you, I'm going to ask a follow on here. How do you adjust that between a more, I'll say, mature client who may have, regular, presidents, vice presidents, maybe a board, to a small business that's trying to get some venture capital funding, and they're trying to impress their investors and show they're making an impact out there? How do you do all that?
Of course. Well, it is definitely tailored per client, per need. If it is, we actually produced an event in December of this past year that brought over 50 founders from across the state. This was not in South Carolina, but to bring them together to create, really to bring them together to celebrate. So really showcasing the innovation across the state that was happening. But we also invited a great gathering of investors. So we were creating deal flow. So obviously within that, we want to measure how many deals were made. So we want to figure out, how do we stay in touch with these founders so that they can report back and let us know, we were able to receive this much, this much, this much. So that's like a minutia example, but I would say it's always tailored. I love a net promoter score, the NPS score. Obviously, there's formulas to surveying after the fact or in real time when they are there before they leave. Any bigger event or even smaller event too, we're going to survey those folks. We know that that's a priority for the client. Did you have a good time? Did you hear about this particular partner or sponsor? So we are going to glean as much data as we can. But it's really understanding and having a great personal relationship with the client from the onset, and understanding long-term end game, what do you need? And that helps us to develop not only the campaign, but I love the nerdy talk. We measure everything. It helps us to refine our process and make it better. And certainly it helps us to show our value throughout the process with the client.
Absolutely. Because, the sort of follow-on question of this is like, one of the biggest and hardest things to do, especially when you don't have like your own marketing team, and is like, okay, how much time and how much money do I spend on marketing, and where should I put my efforts? How much social media versus in-person versus email versus a million other things do I do? And everybody's like, I don't know. So how do you help people do that?
Well, again, it's always tailored. We said at the very beginning, integrated marketing is really creating a more holistic toolkit for these clients, whether it's an email marketing campaign, some social media content, an in-person experience, and maybe even just helping to be strategic about their corporate communications. Maybe they aren't hitting people. Well, the way that they're presenting and packaging this may not be making any kind of impression or imprint. So again, we really tailor it for each client. I may be sabotaging myself, but hopefully not. We really do niche in on experience. And I know that GOODco, we are not a one size fits all for sure. We are not a traditional digital marketing agency where we are just going to drive impressions. We're going to try to maximize SEO. We have great vendors and agents who we can work with if that is a priority. But again, ours is definitely rooted more in human connection. So when we work with a client who's saying, I'm looking to, here's my XYZ end game. Again, we can look at kind of our toolkit, or our toolkit isn't the right word, but we look in our community of agents. Who do we have? And how do we, as a marketing, I hate to use the word expert, but as somebody who loves telling stories, I'll say that, as a passionate storyteller, I'm going to look in my community and say, okay, who are the agents that I feel like are going to create the best value for this client and their goals? And then, just based on experience and building out that formula, here's what we think this project is going to require. Here is the time that we feel like that you need to allow us to invest in it. And that's really how we come up with, here it is. I have zero hesitation if someone comes to me, especially as we're going through the process, there are a lot of companies that need marketing outsourced,
right,
or, outsourced in-house marketing support that are not in the marketing field at all. Right. And that is completely okay. That's great. That's job security for me. But I think it is okay to say to your clients, I really understand this is your end goal, and you're telling me that you need this, this, and this. I actually really believe that in order to get here, we need this, this, and this.
Right.
So it's working together. And again, it's not for everybody. If they're looking for kind of a one size fits all, that's not us. But the folks that really value efficiency, really good work, and creating that community asset, those are the types of clients we want to work with.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I totally feel that. I did consulting before for my current consulting thing many years ago, and like one of the things they try to teach you the first thing is listen very intently, and exactly what you were saying is like figure out what is really needed versus what they think they need.
Exactly.
Exactly. Because oftentimes they think they need this, but they just haven't come at it from a different perspective, and they don't see these other possibilities. And so that's totally fun. I totally get that. And those are fun people to work with when you can really help them out in a way they never thought that could happen. So that's awesome. So
absolutely.
Have you always been in South Carolina? Are you like a native South Carolinian?
Absolutely not. I am a native Mississippian.
I am a
proud, yep. I am from rural Mississippi.
Nice.
I am a proud graduate of the University of Alabama.
Oh, wow.
I started my career in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And about 22 years ago, I landed in Charleston. So I obviously was migrating east.
Right.
I will tell you, I mentioned before, we have an office in Birmingham as well. I have lived in Charleston 3 times. I have ping-ponged between Charleston and Birmingham. And if any listeners or Bill, even you, if anybody would like to just take a deep dive into all the many ways that you can have fun in either city, I am your girl.
Awesome.
I think obviously Charleston is a gem in the South, and Birmingham is the South's best kept secret. So not a native, certainly love it here. I feel it's such a rich community. There's so many dynamic entrepreneurs, so many great resources here in Charleston. But clearly I love to get around the South.
Yeah, it's lots of fun. I've been in a few places in Alabama. I haven't been to Birmingham that I can remember. I've been to Anniston, Alabama, which not very many people have been.
Not too far from Birmingham, but we'll start building it out an itinerary for you. I promise to make a positive imprint through your first experience in the Magic City.
Awesome. I love it. And it's called the Magic City. I never knew that.
That's right. It's called the Magic City. And may I tell you why?
Yes, please.
Okay. So post-Civil War, the city itself sits in a valley, but it was literally a crossroads. And those early settlers, if you will, realized that the 3 main ingredients to produce steel were abundant in the red clay hills surrounding. Cool. So overnight, steel mills went up, the furnace towers, and there's some iron facade buildings. So anyway, the city grew so rapidly during that era that it seemed to be like magic. It came out of nowhere. So they call it the Magic City.
That's really cool. I'd never heard that. It's always, I love the history stuff. Like there's a lot of neat history around Charleston, obviously, too. So that's one of the things I enjoy quite a bit.
Yes, and I have to give a plug. I just got my current issue of Charleston Magazine, and this year, 2026, is the I'm never going to get it right, but the 250th
anniversary of the United States.
Yes.
I don't know what the word is either.
It's a tongue twister, but I love, obviously so many places around the country are, finding opportunities to tell the story and the history. But, Charleston boasts so much history. It's, the first chamber of commerce. I think there are a lot of firsts here, but anyway,
Fort Moultrie,
for anybody,
Sullivan Island. I mean, it's part of the
yes, Fort
Revolutionary
Sumter.
War, part of the Civil War. You know, all of these
That's
big
right.
things. So yeah.
I enjoyed. I dog-eared almost every page of what a great place, what a great location to be in during this kind of milestone year to go and just explore. I'm excited
Right.
about being a tourist in my own town for the
Yeah.
rest of the year.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. So
Yeah.
I have to ask, so you've been doing this for 18 months now, and, you know, obviously had a lot of experience before you started your own company. So what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs out there in the Low Country?
Oh my, that's a really hard question, Bill. Goodness, advice, maybe a few things, you know, stay true to what you're passionate about. It's not hard work when you love what you do. I think also don't be afraid to stand by your value as a company and as an entrepreneur, as your service.
Right.
You know, people are going to want to negotiate all day long, but I think that can lead to an impediment to growth if you continually devalue yourself. And then I will say, you know, entrepreneurship, as you know, and I'm sure anybody that's listening to this knows, it is not for the faint of heart.
No.
You know, on any given day, you're the trash collector, the coffee maker, the bill payer, the producer, you're all the things.
Yeah.
And I literally, I promise you I do, every single morning I wake up, and as soon as I wake up, I'm like, are we doing this again?
Yeah.
And the answer still is, hell yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, if that changes, I'll make some considerations, but I think that's it. Sticking to your values, sticking to what you're passionate about, and making sure that you keep your community rich. Entrepreneurship can be so isolating. So being able to meet new friends like you, Bill, and being able to explore this wonderful, rich community that we have in the Low Country. That wasn't one thing. That's my book of advice.
That's all right. That's awesome. No, I mean, that is exactly it. I mean, you hit like all the kind of major points there. It's like, you know, being an entrepreneur is tough work, and it takes perseverance, it takes motivation, and it takes exactly what you're saying, connections to other people. So, you know, you're not out there all by yourself slugging through all of the things you're going through. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a pleasure. I hope you come on again. I want to hear more about GOODco and all the good things you guys are doing. I think
I will be back.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait. And I can't wait to see you out in Charleston celebrating the 250th.
I'll be around.
And Bill, I look forward to building out your Birmingham itinerary.
All right. I'm down with that. I will. So if you help me with Birmingham, I've lived in a lot of places. So you just say, I'll give you a list of the places I've lived. You can pick somewhere you want to go. I've even lived overseas in Italy, so I can cover a lot of ground.
Andiamo. I'm ready. See, this is a wonderful, this partnership is going to be quite prolific. I can already tell.
Good. I'm looking forward to having you back on. I hope you have a great day.
Oh, thank you so much, Bill. Thanks.
Bye. That's a wrap for this episode of the Low Country Revolutionaries. Thanks for joining us as we celebrate the fearless entrepreneurs making wave in Charleston's Chucktown Startups community. I'm Bill Bellot, and it's been an honor to share these inspiring stories with you. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a spark of low country innovation. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.